Nomad has recently signed a contract with T-Mobile Poland to provide wireless technology for PKP intercity customers. Can you tell us some further detail about the company and also about how this partnership came about?
Yeah, well, first of all, I will start with a little bit of context. Nomad is a very high growth company. We've been recognized in the Sun Times Tech Track 100 over the last 3 years, and I think there are very few companies in this case. So growth is basically our DNA. Eastern Europe has been one of our focus areas over the last couple of years. We actually recruited a dedicated salesperson about a year ago. So, I mean, it's an area that we've been looking at over some time now. We also established some local contacts, initially at trade fairs or different events. And basically, naturally, we positioned ourselves on this big tender. We also worked very, very deeply with different local players, and it became very clear at one point that T-Mobile in Poland was one of the most aggressive and probably one of the most relevant partners to play with on this big tender. So in the end, over time, with dedication and focus and selecting the right partner, I think that's how we came to be in the position of being in the winning consortium on that PKP tender.
Yeah. What will this Wi-Fi service offer passengers on the PKP intercity line?
It's a combination of many different services, but the main one is high-speed internet access, and there will be a second part which is about entertainment. So basically within the first 3 months we will have to deliver the first 30 cars internet access, and within 1 year we'll have to complement this with some entertainment. Entertainment meaning a portfolio of 40 films, games, and a portal where basically you can pay on demand with your credit card and these kind of things to enable the entertainment content.
One of the largest examples of wireless technology within public transport in Eastern Europe. Do you see further major opportunities in this region?
Well, actually, we have a lot of requests from this region. It's a massive region, not just for Wi-Fi, but also for a lot of other applications, because one of the unique elements of our solution is that once we've set up the network and the connection between the train and the shore and the network operating center on the shore, you can deploy as many applications as you want. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot of requests around Wi-Fi, but we also have a lot of requests driven by, for example, energy efficiency. And in this region it's massive. I must say that we've recently formed a joint venture with a company in Portugal called Nomad Tech, and we have now a unique solution on the market around condition-based monitoring. It's basically everything about monitoring your train and your equipment on the train and detect faults before they actually occur, by comparing some elements that you retrieve from these equipments and comparing them to a database so that you can see the patterns and, you know, basically avoiding failures before they happen. So that's one thing. We also see a lot of traction in these countries, and I could mention a lot of contacts we have in Bulgaria, in Romania, in Czech Republic, or in many other countries, just to name a few. A lot of it is driven by, I would say, penetration of broadband mobile in these countries. Many people now have tablets or smartphones, so it's driving basically usage. Yeah. There's a lot of investment also in infrastructures, you know, telecom infrastructure, of course, but transport infrastructures. And in Eastern Europe in particular, there's a lot of EU funding, so that's generating a lot of requests and a lot of projects. And well, I must say again, we have a lot of traction in that part of the world.
Yeah. And do you have an understanding of the business model that they're likely to adopt? So will it be free or subscription only?
It's a bit of a tricky question. To be honest, this is still something that's being discussed between PKP and TMPL, and I don't really have the details. What I can tell you is that if we expand a more global view in Europe, we see different models, and different models for Wi-Fi and different models for entertainment, for example. Mm-hmm. Typically, many of our customers offer Wi-Fi for free in first class and is paid for in second class. I don't know what TMPL and PKP would agree, but it could be something around these lines. I have no clue at this stage. For entertainment, usually you have a basic set of free content, and then it's VOD type of model where you have to pay with your credit card for additional content.
Okay. So, for a lot of the rail and metro companies, this may be the first time that they've deployed such technology. Could you give us a little insight into some of the challenges that they may face?
Yeah. Main challenges are, I would say, obviously it's local language, which is a barrier, and the local administrative authorities, which are specific to each country.
Yeah.
So we have to be, in a way, to be local, and we are actually staffing some local people to, to make sure that we cope with these elements in Poland. Also, I want to say that one of the constraints we have on this project in particular is the time frame. Timing is very, very aggressive. As I mentioned, within 3 months we have to deploy the first 30 cars. So this is very aggressive. Within a year we have to be, all 300 cars have to be equipped. So that's really a massive constraint, and probably the most important one. Well, I'm pretty confident because we've worked in other parts of the world. We've equipped new customers in Dubai, in Australia, in North America, in Scandinavia, in very difficult temperature or geographical conditions. So we do have the experience, and also one key element which makes me think we are in a good position to succeed on this one is our partnership with T-Mobile in Poland. These guys really have a very, very neat strategy. They are very aggressive. They have completely rebuilt their network, their mobile network. So one of the key challenges also in these kind of countries is the quality of the network coverage, to be able to deliver the service on the whole duration of the trip for the passengers. So it's a key element, I think.
We touched upon it a little earlier on, but with people having phones, laptops, tablets, people always feel the need to be connected. How much of an advantage does this offering that you give railways and metros over rival transport systems such as cars or rail?
One of the things that's important to see is that, as you mentioned, everybody's always on, always connected. And one of the very few areas where you don't have connectivity is typically on the train, on the metro, or on the plane. And basically, one of the advantages that train operating companies see in deploying this kind of internet access on their trains is that basically they close this gap. The train is not anymore a black area where you don't have any coverage. So it's becoming an argument to attract, in particular, business customers, but not only business customers, because you can have 2, 3, 4 hours, efficient hours where you can actually work and be connected and prepare for your meetings, instead of sitting somewhere in a transport where you have no connectivity and you cannot actually prepare as you could prepare in an efficient way if you had a connection.
Yeah.
So that's really becoming a very important service differentiation.
It's interesting. We hear that a lot from people we speak to all over the world, and it seems that the passenger Wi-Fi has gone, for a lot of passengers, from being a nice additional extra to almost being an expectation now.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of a given. If you don't have it, you don't understand why.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned before, mobile broadband penetration is a key element driving these markets in the transport, because when you start having free Wi-Fi around the corner at the Starbucks, just to name one, you don't understand why you don't have Wi-Fi on your metro or on your tram or on your train.
Yeah.
And you expect to have this because you need it.
The PKP Intercity announcement is obviously a great start to the year. Can you give us a little insight into what else you've got coming up in 2014?
Without giving out secrets.
Of course.
Well, I already mentioned a couple of things. We've just formed a joint venture with Nomad Tech in Portugal around condition-based monitoring. So we really see this as a very, very important addition to our portfolio of solutions on top of Wi-Fi. We are known for Wi-Fi around the world. We are probably the leaders in Wi-Fi on trains around the world, but this addition of condition-based monitoring is a very key element of our strategy. It basically opens the doors to new customers, new markets, a lot of it around, as I mentioned, condition-based monitoring, energy efficiency. It's opening the doors to freight markets in the train industry, while we were mainly addressing passenger trains in the past. Also, we have acquired last year a company in Germany around passenger information systems, so there are a lot of developments around that. And we still have a lot of markets which are untouched, and I would say that the big markets for train passenger transport in Europe have not completely opened, like just to name a few: France, Germany, Spain, Italy. have not really opened yet.
No.
So, I mean, we still have a lot of untapped market out there, and we are working on them actually.
Just to finish up, a little bit of a difficult question, but what most excites you about the future of the rail industry?
Just to take an analogy, 10, 15 years ago, the market of telecom opened up from, let's say, a closed proprietary technology market to an open IP-based market. And I will dare say that I see this starting to happen in the transport industry and the rail industry. And basically it opens up a whole new world of possibilities, whether in terms of applications or in terms of solutions or new services you can bring to the end users. So there are many different challenges for the different actors, whether train operating companies or the solution providers as we are. And what's really exciting is all this new world of possibilities. Basically we see us as being very uniquely positioned because we bring that real-time connectivity between the train and basically a network operating center. And once you have that link established, it's just an open world of possibilities by downloading information from the train in real time, in real conditions. And from there you can just let your imagination go and imagine what you can do with all the data that you will transfer out of the train. It can develop into new marketing services. It can develop into new maintenance or operation services for the train operating companies. It can develop into new services for the end users. And Nomad is uniquely positioned to, well, make this happen.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much.